Good evening, everybody. I hope you all had a great day. Um, my day today was kind of interesting, but some negativity was brought towards me today, and I found the positive in it, and it ended up everything worked out great. What happened was the park rules, the RV park that I'm staying at just so that I can put the solar panels on. When I checked in, I made perfectly clear with them, what I was wanting to do. I said, hey, give me the worst spot that you have. I don't need anything. I just need an outlet and just want to be left alone so that I can get the solar on so that I can continue on to Skid Row. And I explained to them that, I will follow all the rules and so on. Well, that was towards the beginning of the week. And then, matter of fact, the manager, I've befriended him, talked to everybody around who's talked to me, has totally agreed with what I've said, and liked me. But then the owner shows up this morning. And the park rules are, quiet time is from 10 o'clock at night until 7 in the morning. Well, I deliberately, waited until about 7:45 because I don't, I don't want to bother anybody. Because if I bother anybody and I piss somebody off, then potentially I go back on the radar and there potentially could be another attempt on my life. So, I mean, you think about it, my life depends on me not bothering anybody, just kind of disappearing and doing what I got to do just to survive. So 7:45 rolls around, and granted, I had some spiritual music, spiritual beats on behind me because I woke up this morning. Um, my heart was just aching, not in a medical way. I just felt a deep love and almost a sadness for so many people, and not for myself. And what gets me out of that is if I listen to the 108 Alms or I put on some spiritual beats. And so, I now have DJ style set up, and I had two of the battery powered speakers behind me, and I thought I had them down really low, and I thought, hey, this is nice, chill, beautiful music. It shouldn't bother anybody, and I didn't bother anybody. But the owner showed up, and he came up to me right away very aggressively and just started laying into me, saying, I can't do this. I have way too much stuff. I can't be playing music. And I said, hey, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to bother anybody. I was following the park rules. It said, and I waited until 7:45 instead of 7 even. And he's like, well, people just want to sleep in and have a nice rest. And I said, okay, I'll turn it down or whatever. What's the decibel rating you want me to be at? And he said, it's freaking common sense. And he's like, and you have too much stuff. This is not acceptable. You can't do anything here. And I was like, well, I was very clear when I moved in what I was going to do. I mean, the manager even helped. Um, anyway. And he said, well, no. I say, and it's not okay. Something to that effect. So by now, I've learned when negative's brought on to me, when I don't ask for it, um, I better protect myself. And the only way I can protect myself and prevent someone from creating a lie about me is for me to put my body cam back on. And I did. And I walked in to the office to speak to the owner and instantly let him know that I was recording. And I said, hey, I just came in because I would like to get my 72-hour eviction notice since you don't want to allow me to do what I have to do. And he said, I don't have to do that. And I said, actually, by law, you do. I said, otherwise, you might as well just go ahead and call the police. And he, oh, fine. He turns around and he's looking for the number, and I said, okay, have a good day. Something to that effect, and I walked out. And I went back to my slot, and I kept working. Because, I mean, I even have a vacuum here. I'm vacuuming up after I do everything. I'm keeping everything incredibly tidy because I don't want to bother anybody. I mean, I'm paying darn near $1 a square foot per week just to park so that I can work and put solar panels on to go give to the homeless. Anyway, so I'm working away, and then up comes the police. And I just want to say, instantly, I felt warmth in my heart when the police officer showed up. But, you know, I've learned. So the very first thing I say, have I broken any laws? He's like, no, I'm not here. You know, I just want to talk. And so I shared my story with him. And, you know, I told him, I said, I'm just trying to stay alive. I'm trying to get solar panels on. They knew that I was going to do this. And him and I had a really good conversation. And right as he was leaving, I said, you know, by chance, are you a religious man? And he said, as a matter of fact, I've been a pastor for 24 years. I believe 24 years. And I looked at him and I said, do you know what I am is? And he said, yes, I do. And realize in the last 300 and some people I've talked with, this is the first one that I've come across that knew exactly what it was. And I looked at him and I said, so you understand then what's going on here? I just want to give unconditional, undeserving love to everybody because I have it for myself. And everybody in the world has turned their back on me except my God. And I'm one with my God because I love myself unconditionally and deservingly. And the reason why I continue to do this documentary is because I love you guys the same way. Makes sense, right? Now let's think about Skid Row. I know a lot of you probably think I'm mentally ill for choosing to go to what's considered the worst place on earth. Well, I chose to do it about a year ago. So, and when I was there, they treated me like family. They loved me. And something that I've never shared with anybody before, 28 locations. And one person, gum is sweet, and man, when that gets down your throat, it's gnarly. Anyways, so at 28 locations, one Ukrainian at each location, strangely enough, happened to know enough English to say to me, basically, I'm a good person and that I'm an unnecessary sacrifice. You know what I thought? Each time, and it actually kind of started bothering me that each location, and then it bothered me even more that at each location, I ended up being the only one who made it through. Like I'd said before, 15 locations in, I didn't want to make it anymore. I kept telling myself that unnecessary sacrifice, bull, I am the absolute most necessary sacrifice because I'm one of the few people in the world that just wants to give love and help defend the ones that can't defend themselves. So I felt I am the worthy sacrifice, and I am the one that is necessary because I already am one with my God. And everybody that I was trying to help protect, I knew wasn't one with their God yet. So of course. But then now when I actually today, I thought back, because that unnecessary sacrifice, hearing it 28 locations by different people, and them not making it, and yada yada yada. I've heard that over and over and over again in my head and never really understood why until today. Unnecessary sacrifice. Well, let's think about the Bibles. Let's think about the famous, Jesus story. Jesus sacrificed everything. He was trying to give unconditional, undeserving love to everybody, and he got crucified for it. And now you look at the modern day. Look at how many different versions of religion there are. Look at how many religions are close to one another, but judge each other horribly. Over time, hey, God learns, Jesus sacrificed everything. And what good did it do for the average human being? Did the average human being become a better person? Stop feeling sorry for themselves, start loving themselves unconditionally and deservingly, and start loving everybody else that way? Or did the average human start judging each other more and more and more after generation and generation and generation? Mental health is progressively going downhill because we keep repeating the negatives, and it starts growing exponentially. The negative parents install that negativity into their children. Then their children end up putting their negativity with that negativity out of survival, looking for the danger. And the parents teach the kids tons of danger. So what ends up happening is we keep installing lies. And each time the Bible is told, the words are changed in interpretation. That is a lie. You cannot say God's word or Jesus's word without using the exact same wording. Why do you think I record everything? That's the only way I can prove my truth between me and my God. So look, now we have the Jesus beautiful divine story. And the downside is, when Jesus was crucified, he didn't have modern technology. He didn't have the ability to talk to the entire world so that they could hear the pure truth, his exact words. Think about it. So here we had non-conscious people, people that weren't divine, didn't have divine energy, weren't one with their God, otherwise they wouldn't have put it in their own words. God, what we refer to as God, would not even be called God, because that is not the name God gave itself. So we have people write their interpretation of what God said. Hello? If you change one single word, you've created a lie. And the only reason why you would need to keep creating lies is so that people could understand the way you want them to understand. So the Bible, the original version's hard to read. Read it with your heart and know the truth. Don't read it by another unconscious human being that you know's brain is always looking for the negative. That's why there's so much guilt in the Bible instead of so much beauty and love. Because you know in your soul Your God is everything that is absolutely amazing, everything that is loving. And the only reason why we don't feel we're one with our God all the time is because we're looking at the negative. And unfortunately, that boils down to we're feeling sorry for ourselves. Because if we love ourselves unconditionally, undeservingly, we would never feel sorry for ourselves. And that would require us to love everybody else unconditionally, undeservingly. Therefore, nobody could ever hurt us. If you only accept the positive, nothing ever goes wrong. You have lessons that just makes you closer to your God. I mean, it makes perfect sense, right? And now stop and think. I'm headed to Skid Row with the House of Truths, and I have, 10,000 amp hours now of smart battery. I haven't done the total calculations. I think I'm close to 14. I have 18 huge, like 400 watt solar panels I'm installing right now. And I have, 7,000 kilowatts of generator power. And as you can see, nothing really else for me other than to give love. But think about it. Skid Row is considered hell on earth. And I'm taking them power so that they can cook, so that they can charge their cell phones. And I'm going to be live streaming so that they can tell their story. And if you think about it, I'm taking light into, metaphorically, you could say, the center of hell so that they can wake up. And the reason why I know that's what I need to do is because I guarantee you, majority of the people that live in Skid Row, the thought of suicide probably crosses their mind at least once a day. And at the beginning of this documentary, when I said who needed to get on this locomotive first, it was the suicidal people and the mentally ill. So no, I'm not mentally ill, unless you consider someone who is willing to give unconditional, undeserving love to other people and ask absolutely nothing in return. If you think that's mentally ill, then I'm totally okay being mentally ill, because I know when I die where I'm going. And all I want you guys to do is go to the same place. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. To my family, if you guys watch at all, I really do forgive you guys. I sure hope you have finally taken the time to read the Jesus story and finally started to realize that you guys did act out exactly the same as Jesus' family did. Something else that I thought was really, I don't know, it gave me goosebumps when I heard about it. But recently I was in Albany on a Thursday, and then I left and headed further south. And I just found out that that same day there was what they're considering one of the worst traffic accidents that's ever happened. 7 people died. And one side of me, my heart weeps. But the other side of me, those 7 people, I bet you when they passed, they weren't judging. I just hope they were feeling love. But anyway, I'll shut up for the night. Please, you guys, do yourself a favor, and just for, you got nothing to lose, and just for shits and grins, I guess, tomorrow force yourself every single time something negative happens, whether it makes you want to get angry or it makes you sad or it makes you, you're anything negative at all, when it happens tomorrow, force yourself to find one slight, tiny little positive thing that could possibly come from you experiencing that. Even if it's teaching you, okay, oh man, I just bumped my head because I'm going too quick. Okay, it's teaching you, slow down, appreciate life, realize what life is about. Is it not the absolute most important thing of your existence to figure out how to be one with your God? I don't know about you, but to me that's the absolute most important thing that you could possibly do in your life, is everything you can to be one with your God, to hear exactly what your God is trying to tell you. And all I want to do is because I had pushed myself so far, willing to sacrifice myself, that I finally woke up. I guess my God felt that I'd suffered enough. That's all. So please, just find something positive in every single thing that happens. Just give it a try for a day. I know you'll feel better at the end of the day. And I know that if you give it a try again a couple days later, you're going to find out it becomes actually effortless. And then you're going to start realizing, wow, there is a second voice. That's your heart. And then your brain eventually is willing to take co-pilot, to the point to where the brain's almost wanting to start getting lazy, like, hey man, you got this, you handle it, you coming up with all the great ideas. But you can't obviously let go of that 10%, if you will, of your brain, because you're not one unless you love all of you. Like the saying, you got to love the good with the bad and the bad with the good. But if everything is positive and everything's exactly like it's meant to be, then everything is great. All right, I love you guys, and I will talk to you again. Oh, one last thing, I'm sorry. Ask yourself, what does Jesus look like when he returns? What does he say? How does he do it? When does he come? What does he look like? I guarantee you, I know what he looks like better than anybody else in the world. And I bet you I'm starting to look like him more and more. Not because I think I'm Jesus, because I am kind of on the same path. And I know that when Jesus was doing what he was doing, the pain he felt in his heart that grew to stronger and stronger love and more determination to help every single person he possibly could, I know he still carried a lot of pain in his heart. And that pain was love. That was love for all of us. But if you've noticed, my eyes, at times have bags under them and look droopier, or if you've noticed recently, I'm talking calmer and I'm more direct. I told you, every single thing about these videos is for a very specific reason. I don't have split personalities. I'm not manic where all of a sudden now I'm in a low. I was proving to you guys the truth. So, yeah, I guarantee you I know what Jesus Christ looks like better than you do, because I feel the same pain that he must have been feeling. because all I'm wanting to do is give unconditional, undeserving love to everybody and help everybody become one with their God. And nobody's willing to give me any love back. But like Jesus, I won't stop. The difference is modern technology. Y'all can't change the words with that. And not near as easy to crucify. I love you guys. Have a good night.